good afternoon to the channel. Today I'm gonna introduce you to a very useful concept which I consider important for people to think correctly and to uh, find truth. The video today speaks about truth. What is truth? What is not truth? Okay? And this concept, I didn't find it in books from philosophers. I didn't find it in any classes from the professors I like to follow. So I think it may be very valuable. Maybe if we make some deep investigation in the books of philosophy, we might find something like this. But so far, I never saw anybody talking about understanding truth in this way. So okay, let's dive into it. So the idea is to divide truth into two segments: social truth and individual truth. And let me give you specific examples of this. If you saw previous videos I made, you will see that I was all the time defending the idea that women will be much more positive for the world if they start having more children, if they start having the courage to have children and to keep the children alive. So in some way these ideas were against abortion in some way, but abortion is a perfect example of how social truths and individual truths can be different. Okay, I wanted to bring that example today so we see how the point of view can change. Okay, so from a social truth we can state that babies are important, that life is valuable, that populations in countries are decreasing, that this idea of killing babies, of not valuing having families, of all this conjunction of things that go against pregnancy, is bad. That's a social truth. However, when we find a person that decides to abort, despite I might be against it, I can understand it because individual truths can be very, very different. Because if we think about individual truths, about the things that every person is going through, we can say that there is a war out there. There's war. So because there's war out there, these people need to take decisions that can defend their interests, so they don't fall in poverty, so they don't struggle with big expenses. So the people that decide to abort babies, of course, they're taking a strategical decision, and sometimes it's like a psychological decision, because rape can really harm a person, even if after that he has to carry all her life with a baby that came from rape, for example. Okay, but this is the separation between individual truth and social truth, with a more political example. But allow me to bring you a more precise idea of looking at this, which is the example I like, not the one that you are interested in, but the example I like. Okay, for example, social truth can be the type of statement where we say professors are needed in society. Okay, therefore every person that decides to study to be a professor is very, very important, right? Because he's taking care of a very, very important job that society needs, and that's a social truth, and we can agree with that. However, individually, that this can be different, because a person that's deciding to be a professor maybe is not important because he's taking a bad decision from an individual side. So it's not true for him that he's a very important professor, because professors are very important. As you know, one of the things I study in college, it things related with computer science, but after that, myself, I'm interested in maybe one day becoming a professor if I don't have other choice, if my businesses fail. But as you will see all the time myself, I'm talking to you about books in finance I wrote, about the importance of investing, and in some way, despite myself, I can consider me important because of a social truth. Individually, I'm not important if I don't decide to pursue opportunity, if I don't decide to pursue that side of me, which not only can make more money, but can have a big impact, which can have enormous impact. And when we understand this, that actually truth is more complex than what we think, we can come out to understand why, for example, in my life, in my experiences, I visited homes of professors with many years of experience, but they were struggling economically, as if they weren't important people. Because the world doesn't care about social truth, it cares about what is true. And to find truth, you have to find your own individual truths. What is best for you, not what is best for society. Because sometimes what is best for you can become the best for society. That's truth. So when we say professors are so important, people who are studying to become a professor are very important, that's a social truth. That's vague. That's not complete. We have to talk also about individual truth. What is true individually? What people need individually? Let me give you a final example about this and we will finish here so we don't make it very long. Okay, if we state that professors, doctors are very important, okay, lawyers, therefore we are saying that universities that teach people how to be professor, how to be a doctor, they are doing something very important because of that social truth. And look how this social truth is making us blind to see the following. The individual truth of these universities is that they are betraying their students, they are betraying their customers because they are not trying to provide value for them. They are not trying to teach them what they need so they can become successful, so they can have a family, so they can pay a lot of expenses. Okay, individually they are betraying their students despite that socially they can be very important. Why? Because universities that teach people how to be doctors, they succeed at that many times, but they are not teaching them how to invest, they are not teaching how to manage their money, they are not teaching them how to think intelligently, how to find the right jobs. So because they don't do that and because they don't acknowledge individual truths, we end up having this profile of professor that one time I visited, many years of experience. There's a shortage of that type of professor, but that professor was struggling to make ends meet, or at least to pay the high expenses of living in the city she lived. So this is because she didn't look for individual truths. We all the time commit that mistake. We do not pursue truth. We only pursue what is socially truth, and that confuses us. You know, truth should be seen as something that educates us, as something that free us, as something that makes our eyes to open and makes us to empower ourselves. But truth at the end ends up being a social construct, as think about what is socially truth that confuses people. They don't believe in truth. They don't have truth in their minds. They have lies. They have lies. Because if you want to have truth in your mind, you need to learn both. You need to learn both. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, truth is not simply a statement that you learn and you can speak it. It's also something more complex than that. Truth in philosophy, truth in life, is these two things. Yes, what is important for society? That's important to know that and to define that. But also, you have to learn that individual side within you. And once you find that individual side within you, you might become a person who can start saying, I live in truth, I found myself, I learned the things that I had to learn, I finished a good education that will impulse my life and help me to be a better human being. That's the idea. And this is very, very important. As you see, I qualify it as triple A. This video today is triple A because this concept is extremely, extremely important. Mainstream philosophers usually just have this conversation about what is truth, how it's found, the importance of making questions to find it, how to have critical thinking so you avoid bad sources of information. But they never talk about this. and this is going to be very, very useful for you, okay?
Be going through are some big questions. To anticipate, does God exist? Is there objective moral truth? How do we know whether truth exists? What is a liberal arts education? If I've got you there with those questions, you're in for a good time because we're going to be going through them in some depth. Now, I need to warn you about some things before we get started. The first thing is that philosophy is not about validating the things you already believe. So you're going to have to get used to asking questions that might make you a little bit uncomfortable. When I teach philosophy at Hillsdale College, on the very first day I have the students memorize "The wise man loves to be corrected." I want you to think about what that means. The wise man loves to be corrected. How many of us love to be corrected? Just think about that for a moment. But why not? Socrates said, "I love to be corrected because it makes me better. I substitute truth for error." So we need to think about that in this course. How do we grow in truth? Secondly, you need to get used to being uncomfortable with your ignorance. It's an unpleasant thing. I come home from a day of teaching and my mind is filled with ideas, and there's anxiety because I've gained so much knowledge in something I've learned, but every time we make an advance into reality, we learn something new vistas open up. Think about the knowledge of your best friend. Do you ever know your best friend fully, completely, perfectly? Every gain in knowledge is a surprise, but then there's something more to learn there. And finally, I just wanted to let you know that we'll be studying some things that you may not agree with. And I want to make clear that wrong opinions are often a great pathway to the truth. Even studying wrong views, when they're artfully expressed, our struggle to try to understand why they're wrong and to work our way towards the truth can be immensely valuable. So I'm not choosing these books because everything they say validates what we know or everything they say is true. I'm choosing them because I think they have a singular way to make advances into reality. And that's partly, by the way, why we're using these great books, these teachers. I cannot do for you what Plato does. I want to give you a taste of what Plato does. I want to give you a taste of what Aristotle does with the books.
Mainstream philosophers usually just have this conversation about what is truth, how it's found, the importance of making questions to find it, how to have critical thinking so you avoid bad sources of information. But they never talk about this, and this is gonna be very, very useful for you. Okay, so I hope you like the video. I hope you leave a like and subscribe. Enjoy my other videos. I hope the different way I'm deciding to speak, it's helping you to understand better the videos, because the normal way I speak English, it's awful. You know, I was checking out my pronunciation, and I think people might struggle to understand me. I hope this way will be better. But yeah, just take this out from the video. What is individual truth? What is social truth? And print it in your mind, tattoo it inside your head. This is essential, as critical thinking is essential, and soon you might see me making some videos about that. As in the future, I'm gonna make some videos about professors, which I learned very valuable things from them. But I decided to add some of the own things I created, because I think we need to make more additions to the way we study. And I think this concept is going to be very, very useful for you. I hope you start using it. Okay, ask yourself, when someone tells me this, is this a social truth? Is this socially what we need? But then what I need individually, am I an important person because I want to become a professor? No, I'm an important person because I learn subjects of great importance, and inside those subjects of great importance, I have knowledge to be professor. But the importance of who you are goes beyond what socially you can be. What we can say as social truths go beyond that. individual truths are very important to remember that, and I hope you find this video useful. Okay, goodbye and many blessings. Leave a like, subscribe, and if you like the video, comment out, leave it below why you like it, or what can I improve. Okay, see you and goodbye.